Total Extreme Wrestling 2020. My name is Brendan Plays. Thanks for coming back to another episode today. Of course, continuing our All Elite Wrestling Say week 3 of December. So we've got a few things planned. Obviously, a couple of weeks away from our upcoming New Year's Smash special. Probably the big thing planned, I think today will be the debut of Jeff Hardy. I think we're going to go with it today. It's either going to be this episode or, one more episode of Dynamite, but I feel like it's time to probably bring him in. We've got him up our sleeve. It might be time just to go for it. Before we kind of move to our own shows, I want to take a look at WWE. So we've had a little bit of news from WWE that has kind of disgusted me a little bit. So let's kind of take a look at what happened at their recent pay-per-view, which of course was TLC. Main event, Bray Wyatt. He's still the WWE champion. That's great, fine, no worries. But it's this next match. Baron Corbin is the new Universal Champion. He beat Braun Strowman. He's now the top dog on his brand. Oh my God. Baron Corbin. The WWE, what are you doing? Why? He's got 70 pop, beating Braun Strowman. Good luck to him. Baron Corbin is champion. That is not one way to get viewership, in my opinion. That's one way to make sure that I'll never watch that show ever again. But luckily, this is the TEW world. He hasn't had that privilege yet in real life. Let's hope it stays that way. They had an 85 rated pay-per-view though. 87 main event, 90 rated tag match. Balor and Styles teaming up to take on Reigns and Lesnar. That is a weird match, but well, it's a good use of Finn Balor. He's obviously been in NXT this whole time, so now he's moving up from NXT and straight into the main event. Well, straight into the main match on the pay-per-view, which is pretty cool. So, thank God he's not in NXT. We don't have to worry about him anymore, and thank God we're not running WWE, because I wouldn't want Baron Corbin as my champion. Anyways, so for our show, obviously a couple of weeks away from our pay-per-view, things going pretty well. Storyline-wise, I think we've really got to identify a couple in the next couple of weeks to really work on. One being Omega versus the Elite. I was thinking about having Adam Page and Omega for New Year's Smash, but I think it's at the point now where I don't know if we can. If we're going to run a storyline where Omega is deciding to hold up the company for more money, he doesn't want to come back until he gets paid, I think the payoff needs to take a little bit more time. I don't think we can rush that match and have the rematch happen in 2 weeks' time. So we might have to hold off on that match just for a little bit longer and maybe go with that one. Maybe we don't have Omega and Page have a rematch. Maybe we just go Cody versus Omega. I'm not sure. Wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more out of Moxley and the family as well. Inner Circle and Young Bucks. I think we're going to do this match at Revolution. I think we'll do that, and then maybe we'll set up for the Young Bucks, maybe versus, maybe another team at Revolution. So I'm not sure where we're going to head with that one. Maybe it will be the Hardy Boys. I'm not sure, but we'll kind of go with that down the line. And obviously, as we talked about, Jeff Hardy coming in. MJF and Sting, that storyline is going pretty well at the moment. We've had some good promos, so we might keep going with that. And obviously the TNT Championship Tournament. So we'll find out who's going to win that tournament to face Miro at New Year's Smash. So that final of that tournament might take place this week, I'd say. We might do that. And then we'll do Miro versus whoever wins it at the pay-per-view. Alright, so let's get into this week's episode of Dark. Alright, this episode of Dark, let's have a look on the pre-show. Anna Jay and Tay Conti teaming up to take on Bates and Hirsch. Still debating whether or not we're going to go with Anna Jay and Tay Conti as a tag team. Obviously, we only have one women's tag team officially. I feel like these two could work quite well together. And there's no chemistry boost there, but still, there may be something there at some point. Something for both, I suppose, to do. Layla Hirsch, 24, and Leva Bates, 26. We gave the win to Jay and Conti in the end, 26 match. We had a hype video for Abaddon. We haven't really used Abaddon too much just yet. I still feel like she's probably been underused by myself, so I'd like to try and get her popularity going. So we gave her a little bit of a hype video here. We might try and do some more things with her going forward. Matt Seidel had a promo talking about his recent loss in the TNT Championship Tournament, 38 for that one. Opened up the show with the Dark Order. Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, Alex Reynolds, and Silver took on Top Flight and the Initiative for 39. The best in the match, Uno and Grayson 44 apiece. We gave the Dark Order the win. So Dark Order teaming up, getting them a win just to kind of boost them up a little bit. They've had, not a lot of success. They're a little bit down the dumps, of course. So a chance for them to kind of, come back together as a team, reunite, pick up a nice little win to boost morale. We had Awesome Kong and Britt Baker with Rebel there as well, beat down Chris Statlander backstage. So a bit of a backstage ambush on Statlander to try and send a message to her after Statlander, of course, cut a promo last week, kind of discussing what happened with Kong and Baker. Well, they've responded in their own way by beating her down this week, 42. Private Party and the Hybrid 2 took on each other as well, part of the Tag Team Championship Tournament. 39 rated match, not enough investment in this match by the fans, kind of gave it a bit of a penalty. In the end, 39, we had Isaiah Cassidy, 51, was really good. Jack Evans and Helico, 45 and 46. So the performances were good, just not enough, I suppose, involvement from the fans. We did go with a high spots match. I did try something a little bit different here. I figured these two teams, pretty high flying, pretty spot based. So maybe we'll go for a high spot, see if we can get a little bit extra out of this match. And I feel like we got the performances, we just didn't have the crowd to back it up. So we hadn't had enough good content before. So maybe this should have been maybe the main event. But nonetheless, 39. And Hybrid 2 picked up their first win of the tournament as well by beating Private Party. Pac cut a promo on Miro about the TNT Championship and the tournament. 56 from Pac. It's not a great promo. Obviously, I don't think Pac is still, the strongest promo guy. He's definitely improved in recent years, but still has a little bit more room to improve on. But nonetheless, 56, pretty good. Down the Rosa took on Bea Priestley, a part of their little rivalry. They have good chemistry, which lifted the match. Rosa 44, Priestley 31, but again, not enough popularity from these two women to have a great match that was not on the pre-show. That's our whole problem with the women's division. No one has any popularity, so we're trying to have them on the show, but there just isn't any investment in them because they don't have enough popularity. But how do you get them popularity if you can't use them on the show? I don't know. So that's kind of where we're at with the women. It's going to be an ever uphill battle. Never ending. Trent, Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, best friends, discuss their chances on winning the Tag Team Championship Tournament. They're currently undefeated in the tournament. I think they only have to face SCU and Jurassic Express. So two of the top tag teams in the tournament. So we're getting down to the real nitty gritty end of it. A lot of the low end teams are pretty much out of the mix. Now it's time for the real contenders to face off with each other. So that should be pretty exciting. Should make for some good matches coming up on Dynamite or Dark coming up soon. Main event, we had Adam Page defeat Shawn Spears. We had Will Hobbs come in and interfere to cost Spears the match. So Spears has been talking a lot of trash about how he's going to try and keep Will Hobbs down the card. He's not going to let him overtake him. He's going to try and hold him back. Well, Will Hobbs returned serve. Will Hobbs actually cost Spears the match and is holding Spears back. We gave Adam Page the win. He hasn't really had a match, all that many matches, and obviously he's involved in the Kenny Omega thing. So I figured a win here on Dark gives us a decent match to close out Dark, and also just keeps Adam Page, rolling, keeps him another win, keeps him going. So don't mind that at all. And Shawn Spears, well, a loss here, but it had some storyline purpose. So we do get a little bit extra heat out of it as well, which will help that storyline. Overall, 47. All right, this week's episode of Dynamite, let's take a look at the pre-show. We had Scorpio Sky and Brandon Cutler for a 46 rated match. Scorpio Sky, 49, Cutler 35. Look, I've just kind of forgotten about Scorpio Sky a little bit. He's kind of obviously a part of SCU, who'd be more in the tag team division, but Scorpio on his own definitely could be a mid-card player. I think we need to try and maybe find a way to squeeze him into some sort of rivalry, or maybe we should have had him in the TNT Championship Tournament, trying to just use him a little bit more as a singles. Thunder Rosa with a 41 rated promo talking about how she's going to let her wrestling do all the talking against bad reputation. So a great promo, improving the storyline heat. She's not a great promo usually, so that's a great result there that she's able to step up and deliver there. Abaddon with a stinker of a match, 9 rated. 23 from Abaddon. Amber Young, she was a local talent, 15. Abaddon squashing her. Yeah, squash matches just aren't really working at the moment. We might have to try something different to Abaddon. And Varsity Blondes cut a promo talking up their future in the tag division. So let's take a look at the opening segment of the show. It is Jeff Hardy making his debut in All Elite Wrestling. We had Broken Matt Hardy in the ring, Taz came out and interrupted. So Matt Hardy was preparing. He was about to have a match. Taz and his crew interrupted and attacked. Jeff Hardy came in for the big save, taking down Team Taz, saving Matt Hardy. I figured though, why not continue on with this? Why not, Jeff Hardy, big surprise, great hot opening start to the show. Let's get Jeff involved a little bit further. So we had Jeff Hardy take on Ricky Starks one-on-one. Jeff Hardy performed at 69, Ricky Starks at 40. We gave Jeff Hardy the win. We gave it a 14-minute match because I wanted to have a strong one here to kind of put over Ricky Starks, but also show off Jeff Hardy and let him do all his stuff. So a 65 rated match is pretty good. Considering where this storyline's kind of at, that's pretty good results. Jeff Hardy, he's a little bit older these days. His performances won't be probably as good as they would have been a few years ago. So I have to expect that he won't be delivering 80s and 75s and things like that. But 69 is pretty good. I think when he teams up with Matt, the performances will certainly get a lot stronger. So I'm happy with where he's at right now. So another strong name to join AEW, and a big name at that, to really bolster up our roster, and not just as a singles, but certainly as a tag team competitor as well. MJF was being interviewed by Dasha, and MJF said it is absolutely ridiculous that he has to get more wins. MJF says, look, I've been winning all year long. Why do I have to get more? Why do I have to prove anything? I have to take on Colt Cabana tonight. So he was kind of mocking Cabana and being really frustrated at Sting's new idea for MJF, that he needs more wins and he's got to keep on winning, otherwise he won't get a rematch. So 82 rated there. MJF and Colt Cabana had a 67. Colt Cabana 45, MJF 67 himself. So I'm actually liking MJF's in-ring performances. They're getting stronger. I think him wrestling more is probably a good thing to try and boost up his stats a little bit. And it kind of adds another strong match in the card. If we do this kind of a weekly little thing, it works. Now, both times, last week against Billy Gunn, this time against Colt Cabana, Wardlow has interfered and cost MJF's opponent in the match. So that's kind of where we're headed with the storyline a little bit, where MJF is continuing to use Wardlow as help to try and win. Eventually, Sting might ban Wardlow from ringside, will give him a stronger opponent, or a tougher opponent, if you will, and make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe we might do that at a pay-per-view. Maybe that's where we could probably utilize Darby Allin, perhaps. 67 nonetheless. Cody Rhodes was out there talking with Don Callis, and of course they're talking about Kenny Omega. Cody Rhodes confronted Don Callis about Kenny Omega's pay rise request and says it's been denied and he shouldn't have any right to try and hold AEW hostage. And Callis is obviously furious, and Callis is saying, look, Kenny Omega won't be back, he won't be around until you give him what he wants. So great segment between these two. This should obviously, I feel, help Don Callis' popularity, which in turn will help his promos as Omega's manager. Obviously, Cody Rhodes probably carried the segment, but he was superb. Was really, really good here. Callis did struggle to keep up with Cody, but Cody was good enough to try and carry it through, and in the end, an 85 rated segment. So far, this new shift in the storyline, introducing Callis into it, has kind of worked. So I'm pretty happy with where we're at here. I feel like, when we get to Cody and Omega, whether it's, sooner or maybe it's Revolution, I feel like that match could be match of the year. I'm really looking forward to doing that one. So, yeah, so far so good. SCU took on Jurassic Express in a 62 rated match. I think that's the best match so far in the tournament. Of course, it is part of the Tag Team Championship tournament. Jurassic Express defeated SCU when Jungle Boy pinned Christopher Daniels, so that might be a chance for Jungle Boy to gain a little bit of popularity as well. Daniels has, I think, 47, 48, Jungle Boy about 40. So chance for Jungle Boy to gain here. Obviously, Daniels is a veteran. He's putting over the young guys, so he's doing the right thing there. So I'm happy that he did that. A 62 rated match is obviously fantastic for where these teams are both at. We knew this was going to be one of our big matches of the tournament, and it certainly delivered, so I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I think that's SCU, maybe their first loss, and I think Jurassic Express have only got to face the Best Friends next, I believe. I could be wrong, but they are certainly on track to finishing the tournament undefeated. I think they're just got to get through one more team. We had a segment here with the TNT Championship contenders, Sting hosting a contract signing as they make it official. Park versus Lance Archer in the final of the tournament. Miro interrupted the contract signing, of course, to have his say. on what he thinks and let everyone know that he's the champ and he's the man to beat. So we had a 69 here, gaining some storyline heat for the TNT Championship Tournament. I don't like to overuse Sting. I know he's our chief operating manager, or whatever you want to call him. He's the guy. He's the GM. I don't want to try and overuse him, so I'm trying to kind of stick to him being involved in these segments only if they're kind of major situations. For example, obviously this contract signing. So I don't want to overuse him too much, but at the same time, he is going to help out a lot of these talents if he's involved. So, and that's his job. At the end of the day, we put him in as the GM, so he does need to perform these duties. It would be a little bit weird if he wasn't involved, I suppose. So, it's a tough one. Next up, Rey Fenix took on Matt Sydal for 60. Rey Fenix 60, Matt Sydal 44. No chemistry. Wanted to give Rey Fenix another win, obviously just to boost him up again and let him, be more than prepared to face Jon Moxley, gain some more credibility. Matt Sydal's a good competitor in the mid-card. Rey Fenix trying to move up to potentially being an upper mid-card to main event guy. So he needs some more wins, and Matt Sydal took the loss here. Rey Fenix could have been better though. He could have been better. They just didn't have any chemistry here. So this could have been a 65 match if they had chemistry. Post-match though, Eddie Kingston made a challenge that the family wants to fight Moxley, and they don't want to wait until New Year's Smash. Penta wants his hands on Moxley next week, so that will be our main event next week. Penta El Zero versus Jon Moxley. We knew this was going to happen. We knew at some point we are going to have that match. I've just been waiting for the right time. And now that we've built up Rey Fenix that little bit, I feel like it's a good time to at least have some sort of involvement here with the family. So Penta will step up and be the one to do it, which I think Penta and Moxley should be a good matchup. I'm pretty confident in that. Main event was Proud and Powerful versus the Young Bucks. Now, of course, Proud and Powerful, one of the reasons why we haven't been using them as of late is Ortiz has a pretty bad back injury. So I was very hesitant to use them, but I just didn't have a team that could really, give the Young Bucks a good match and a competitive match and be a win big enough for the Young Bucks to prove that they deserve to be number one contenders. They got a win last week, yes, but maybe another one again. So that's what we went with here. Obviously, Proud and Powerful have the ties with the Inner Circle as well, so it makes sense in that regard. They're kind of like the secondary team at the moment, the Inner Circle. So we had Ortiz suck it up and try and deal with the pain tonight, but in the end, we actually used that as a bit of a reason why Proud and Powerful lost. So the Young Bucks beat Proud and Powerful when Ortiz was beaten up so badly the referee had to stop the match due to Ortiz's injury. So his back injury is so bad he just couldn't get up anymore. The referee had to call it off at risk for further damage. So it was a 74 rated match, which is pretty good. The Young Bucks obviously win, and I feel like at the moment, this is going to be a good show. The last segment of the show was a 67, a little bit low, unfortunately. We had Jericho and Guevara out there. They posed with the championships as the Young Bucks celebrated their win over the Proud and Powerful. So nothing too interesting happening here. Matt Jackson's gimmick is getting a little bit stale as well, so we need to fix that up. So 67, so a little bit of a downer to close out the show, which has been pretty good with lots of good matches here. So let's have a look at the overall result. A 71, so that's our best Dynamite for a while, and I feel like that's justified. We had a big hot start with Jeff Hardy making his debut, and we had every single match on the show was 60 or better. So we had 5 matches on the show, and they're all 60 rated or above, which is quite rare. We don't normally get that, so that's some good quality, and overall a really solid show. All right, post AEW Dynamite, let's have a look. NXT. 2.25 rating, 1.688 million viewers. They just keep on gaining more and more. For us, wow, 824,000. That is our best in some time. Again, beating last week's pretty good result. So we're gaining viewers as well. So it looks like December is just a good time of the year for wrestling, which typically it's not. But this is great. We're starting to gain some viewership. We're doing quite well. So I'm very, very pleased with that result. So we're on the rise, which is great. Obviously fantastic. Santana, we've signed him to a new contract. His original one was expiring, so we signed him to $900 per show. I think he was on 14 or 11 grand, something like that per month. So that should be a significant saving for us, which is obviously crucial. And Billy Gunn, we're signing him to a new deal as well, and he wants a little bit more money. He thinks he's worth more than Santana, which is surprising. Nonetheless, MJF doesn't rate Matt Sydal very highly. He wants to cut him. Speaking of ratings, we had a really strong rating on AEW Dark, 12,100 viewers, which doesn't seem like a lot, but considering we started at about 10,000, it is a small little gain. So that's good signs for us that there is some improvement at least. Alright, the popularity changes. Let's have a quick look. So we mentioned last week that Jeff Hardy was only rated as a star. Well, obviously after one show, he's now rated as a major star. So we've got Jeff Hardy as officially a top superstar on the roster. He's at 69 popularity for us. I feel like he can get higher. I feel like 75 is where my goal will be for him. Of course, Cody Rhodes is 67. Omega's just into the 70s. Moxley at 74. So he's not far away from being one of our biggest stars on the show. And I feel like give him some time. Maybe, after this FTR rivalry, he'll definitely be 70 plus. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Well, Luchasaurus has actually surged through the popularity ranks. He's up to 46 in the Southeast, 44 in every other area, which is huge. He was at around low 40s at the start of the month, now mid 40s. That's a huge progression. So again, another guy who could be a factor in the mid-card. And what that will do is obviously bring a huge opportunity for us through Jurassic Express to make this team one of the top teams in the division. Jungle Boy, he's at the exact same, 44 in everywhere, 46 in the Southeast. So both Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus doing really, really well. And of course, Luchasaurus is now at a well-known status. Jungle Boy not quite there yet, but not too far away, I'm sure. So after beating SCU, they've gained quite a bit. I don't think they really lost too much SCU in the end. Kazarian, he went down a couple of points. So he was at 44 himself. He's dropped down to 42. And Daniels, he's at 48 now, and he was at 49. So a small little drop for SCU, but a pretty big gain for Jurassic Express. And of course, Jurassic Express is probably a little bit more upside in them at the moment, and whereas SCU probably on their way down. So that's good for us, kind of moving a new team up the card, and using an older team to elevate them, which is probably that's what should happen, I suppose. So pretty happy with that. I might just take one little look. Ricky Starks had a big moment, had a big match with Jeff Hardy. He's now at 28 popularity, which has been a small little burst, small little jump from where he was. So really want Ricky Starks to be 40 plus. I think Ricky Starks is awesome, and I see so much potential in him. He's still got this cool momentum, which of course, he's just involved in a lot of matches against guys who've got more popularity than him. So he's taking losses. So we need to try and find a way to get him some wins, even if it is at the sacrifice of his popularity a little bit. Or at least try and go through some of the mid-card guys and use them to elevate Ricky, because I feel like if we can get Ricky to 40 plus, he'll be a huge player for our roster. I certainly see Ricky as a potential TNT champion for us at some point. So I want to try my best to get him in a position where he definitely could be doing that. Well, here's where we're at heading into the 4th week of December. Not a big change for our storylines, even though Jeff Hardy's kind of involved, but I feel like we'll have a pretty good promo with Jeff and Matt next week to try and boost up the Hardys versus Team Taz situation. Elsewhere, Moxley's feud with the family's going pretty decent. Inner Circle and Young Bucks been up and down. They were going well until probably that last little segment there on Dynamite. The TNT Championship tournament's down a little bit as well, 61. We've had a couple of mediocre matches that have costed a touch. But for the most part, things are looking pretty good heading into New Year's Smash, which is 16 days away. It's about 2 more weeks away after we advance. But things are going pretty well financially. I feel like we're in a position where we won't take as big of a loss. We've renegotiated some contracts. I feel like we might shave at least $100,000 off our contracts. If we can do that, it'd be fantastic. So at the moment, we're estimated to be just over $1 million for our wages for our workers, which is about $200,000 less. So that's a nice renegotiation. So I don't think we're going to be able to solve all our issues if we do that, because we're currently $500,000 to $800,000 in the red, but we can shave another $100,000 or $200,000. All of a sudden, we're only a few $100,000 over the line, so that's okay. It'd be interesting to see how Jeff Hardy's merchandise goes. At the moment, he's at $654, which is the 12th ranked. I feel like that will increase once he's, a little bit more appearances on the show, but that's of course only after a couple of weeks of him being in the company. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes. Hopefully he can join maybe Cody Rhodes or Jon Moxley as one of the top merchandise movers. Sting's merchandise is going pretty well, $8,000, so he's, giving us a bit of an influx. Now looking at our creative, let's have a look. So Kenny Omega is still considered to be the top guy in the company. Jericho, Cody, Moxley, MJF. That's our top 5 at the moment. Next big things, we got Terrell Dudley. I see a lot of potential in him. Star quality is only 59, surprisingly. Isaiah Cassidy, Darby Allin, Thunder Rosa, and Tay Conti at the top 5. Hot prospects, pretty similar. Powerhouse Hobbs gets in there instead of Thunder Rosa. Best talkers, Jericho, Mox, MJF, Cody, and Sting. No surprise that these guys usually get a lot of promo time. Showstoppers, Omega, Rhodes, Park, Nick Jackson, and MJF. I'm surprised that MJF is there, but it's good to see. Park's been, I feel, a little underwhelming since returning. He's had 2 matches, averaging 64. He's had a 62 against Dustin and a 64 against Jungle Boy. So I feel like he could do better than that, and I'm hoping that it's just a small little blip. Hopefully he fixes that. Ring Generals, FTR in there, Cody, Omega, and Nick Jackson as well. Who's hot? Nick Jackson, Cody, Lance, Brian Cage, and Darby Allin are our top 5 guys with the most momentum. We don't have anyone with bad momentum, even though we do, but I suppose it's not really generated from ourselves. And hidden gems, there's not too many guys in the market at the moment. Tyler Breeze, apparently, he's available to kind of snap up, but at this point, not too much interest there from me. So that's kind of where the company kind of lies. Next episode, we might really take a look at the mid card and try and, decipher who's the guys we want to really move up the card out of these, guys who are recognizable or well known. Is it Orange Cassidy, or are we looking at, try and move Rey Fenix up further, Darby Allin, Daniels? Who are the guys we want to try and identify as potential stars out of the mid card and try and, position them in a way where we can start making it happen. So we might take a look at that next episode. With that being said, guys, that is all for today's episode. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Jeff Hardy, officially part of AEW. Lots of exciting stuff to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.